I firmly believe that if you only create content when you're feeling inspired, you're going to stay incredibly inconsistent and you're not going to show up. I have this with my podcast. I've said this often on the podcast. I love podcasting, but I don't love starting. Same with working out. I put it on my stories yesterday, but I've rarely regretted a workout I did, but I've regretted a ton of workouts I didn't do. And with content, it's kind of the same thing. I think I've been creating content for about 10 years now. And if I scroll back in my camera roll, the 2016 trend, I see a bunch of photos, but I don't see videos because back then we weren't shooting a lot of videos yet. It was all very static. Right now, both photos and videos are very popular. Whenever I'm shooting content and B-roll, I'm always thinking, you never know, which way we're going to go. So let's shoot horizontal, vertical, static. Let's do all of the things because you never know, what's going to be trending and popular in the future. Currently, we have AI that's on the rise. So there's also a lot more AI generated content out there, but authenticity is winning as well. And my forecast for this year and for the next couple of years is definitely that authenticity will win, vlogging will win, all of those things. So I'm currently kind of like figuring out my groove with content. And I've also noticed that I have a couple of habits I'm testing out and a couple of habits I've kind of like nailed down that have really helped me stay consistent, even when I don't feel like making content. I shared this on my stories a couple of weeks ago, but the last, let's say like 4-ish months, I had a lot of stuff going on in my personal life, which caused me to not really want to show up publicly all the time. But I have managed to stay really consistent. And so in today's episode, I want to share a couple of hacks with you that I have incorporated into my daily life so that I can continue to make content. Hello, and welcome to Fail to Win, the show where we love to make mistakes and learn from them so you can turn your passion into profits and live life on your own terms. I'm Amy van der Putten from FastForwardAmy, your host and coach, and I'll bring you a new episode with simple strategies every Tuesday. So I'm going to share the top 3 habits that make it really easy for me to create content in real time, to always have something to fall back on without me needing to be glued to my phone or do everything, in real time or really last minute. So I'm not going to share with you that you should be posting more. I'm not going to share with you the perfect way to make content or if you should be making reels or not. That's not what we're going to be talking about. I'm just going to show you how you can create low friction content. Because I believe motivation is inconsistent. It's kind of like a feeling. It comes and it goes. But habits do actually remove decisions. So for me, for example, when I go to bed, I have a couple of things I do. I have earplugs, and it's a habit that I put them in. It's not difficult anymore. Brushing my teeth in the morning. I think you probably brush your teeth. I do as well. It's something I've been practicing since I was a little kid. And with content, we often think, oh, I'm not made to make content. Oh, making content is so difficult. I think that's a Dutch word that slipped in. So funny. I think what often happens is we think something is difficult because we just haven't put in the reps yet. I was talking about this with my boyfriend. I was going to the gym these past weeks. We've been spending them apart, so we've been on the phone a bunch. And so he's been swimming a lot, which is not necessarily a habit I have. And I've been working out a ton. And I have been working out, like doing strength training for over 10 years. So even when I feel like I didn't crush a workout or I have to do a new workout plan, even when I'm walking into a new gym or my workout plan doesn't match the gear that's there, like I've put in so many reps and sets and times I went to the gym that I can kind of just like figure it out. For him, it's really easy to get the swimming in. So we both have different habits. And when we spend time together, we try to help each other out with the one habit that the other one is less good at. So the same goes for content. We think we're not good at it, but in reality, we just don't have the habit of how to create content. And then there's a difference between, recording content, creating it versus publishing it. I think we often mix up the two, but I still get insecure about publishing something in real time. I still get insecure about, oh my God, what are people going to say? Sometimes I get hate online. Sometimes I can deal with it. Sometimes I can't. But in terms of recording and creating, that has really become really easy for me. But it didn't used to be like that. I remember my first photo shoot. I felt so awkward. I remember my first podcast. I was almost hyperventilating. But all of that has become a habit. So I'm going to share with you my top tips that you can also implement. And even if you just implement one habit, your consistency for content will change immediately. Because I think by now we all know it's important, right? I don't have to use this whole episode to convince you of that? No? Okay, let's dive in. So the first habit is actually a new one. I noticed that I had a lot of ideas floating around in my brain. And then when the time came to make content for a launch or for my Instagram or to give my team ideas, I would be like, I would have like nothing. And I was like, how is that possible? I have so many ideas, but I'm never actually executing on them. So I did this new thing. I almost always have my phone with me. So what I'm doing right now is I create this new note in iCloud Notes, and I just call it, for example, February 2026 content ideas. And anytime I come up with an idea or a quote or whatever I see, trends and stuff on Instagram, I save those to folders. So that's different. But just like, when I have thoughts and musings or when I see something, I'm like, oh my God, I could do that. I just fill it out in that notes app. And every month I create a new one. Because usually people say, oh my God, I never have anything to post. I don't have any ideas. For me, I lack ideas when I'm surrounded by people too much and I can't hear my own voice, but I've spent a lot of time by myself these past couple of weeks and I realized how many ideas I had. I just didn't have a system to turn those into execution. So we often don't lack ideas, we lack a container. And so the ideas, they disappear because they're not captured in the moment. And then when you have to post, you're like, shit, I don't know what to post. So what happened to me actually is I would always convince myself, you know what, you just have to take quick action. You just have to, when you come up with a quote, post it on Threads, then take it from Threads and post it on Instagram. But honestly, I just turned 33. I'm not in a phase in my life where when I have an idea, I instantly want to go online. My Opal app blocks my Instagram at night. I don't want to be on my phone when I'm with my partner. I think when I started out 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, I was like balls to the wall. I'll give anything I have to make all of this work. I'm not in that phase anymore, but it doesn't mean I've become less ambitious. I'm just not willing to sacrifice my personal life for content anymore. And that's why these habits are so important. So I wanted to stop, not having ideas when it counted and having like the golden ideas go nowhere. So I started that new notes file. I then pin it at the top of iCloud Notes. So the barrier to capture my ideas is really, really low. So anything I think about goes in there. Is it a podcast idea? Is it a quote? Is it even just like me brain dumping some stuff in my brain? I literally press the voice button of my my iPhone and I just dump it in there. And then so my new execution plan is actually on Monday morning, which is actually a strategy moment for me. And I have no meetings, nothing in my calendar other than KPIs. I take 1 hour to go through those notes and to then create a Notion file with all of my ideas and brain dumps in there. I give myself a timer, give myself 1 hour, and there I capture everything. And then I'll send that to my content creator. Now, I'm obviously in a phase where I get to do that. You're probably like, oh, I don't have a content creator or I can't afford that. If you can't afford it, I would recommend you do it like I used to do it. I used to take my Monday afternoons to turn all of my ideas into content. And then what really helped me was to have a set format for each week. So it could be like, one quote a week. And then I could look in that list. Maybe you do this weekly, maybe monthly. And it could be like, okay, what are 4 things I can use for a quote? Or you dump this all into ChatGPT and then you create a standard prompt like, hey, I'm looking for 3 educational posts, 3 quotes, and 3 musings. Could you distill all of my notes and thoughts from the past month and help me identify my top potential performing content for my ideal avatar? I would definitely use AI for this. And so for me, what I'm currently doing, because I have some more capacity as I have a content creator and I've been feeling like, I have her on board full time and I haven't really been using her enough, in a good way. I was like, well, recording a voice note with like a voiceover for a vlog is not difficult. Putting all of the content together for a vlog is not difficult. It's the editing and the subtitling that takes me a long time. I definitely can't do that in half an hour, but she can do that in, the course of a week. So basically the micro action and the micro habit here is you create the note per month. I wouldn't do it per week. I would just do it per month and get started there. And anytime you come across anything at all, you just write it down. Messy is allowed. That's the whole point. You don't need to do more than that. And then on Mondays, you block like, I would say half an hour to an hour in your calendar. You open your idea vault and you pick the top ones, or you use AI to pick the top ones. And then you turn those top 10 ideas into a reel, a carousel, a talking point, you record a video about that, and then, there's your content for that week or for that month. And it's going to be very perfectly imperfect, but it just all starts with capturing everything. And you're going to see that sometimes the most raw content, the most you content will actually be the best content. I would pay attention to not overusing AI currently. I think I've been using AI a lot. I love using it for efficiency, but for tone of voice, you can also actually do a lot with it if you get better at it. What I've also noticed is that no matter how well I train an AI project like a custom GPT or a cloud project, I will still sometimes be testing stuff out in trial reels and have 3 variations made by AI with a lot of input. And then I'll just do one where I challenge myself to literally write it exactly the way I said it originally in my notes. And often that one will actually perform best because it is the most human and authentic one, right? So don't overcomplicate this. Just turn all of your raw thoughts, quotes, whatever into one note, and then there you have it. And you're not always trying to overcomplicate things, because I was in that phase where I was like, what if I could talk into ChatGPT and connect ChatGPT to my Notion, and then it became such a complicated system in my brain that I wasn't doing it. So I always believe the best habits are the habits you do consistently, not the perfect ones. Okay, so that brings me to my second habit. And this is one that is gonna ruffle some feathers. I actually heard someone say that this summer when I made a podcast episode about when you look good, you get paid more, that someone unfollowed me. I imagine more people unfollowed me. And it's actually funny because I grew up not necessarily as a girly girl. I grew up with 3 brothers. I never even learned how to braid my hair. I would be climbing in trees, playing outside, riding, motorcycles and stuff with my brothers. And so I never really learned how to do my makeup. I never really learned how to style myself and everything. So when I started taking my image more seriously these last couple of years, and I've really been trying my best lately, and I think if you can look at images or videos, you'll see a little bit of a glow up gradually happening. I now have a stylist and all of it. I also really had to, I struggled with the whole, do you need makeup? I remember when I was in high school, I didn't want to put on makeup because I was like, the moment you start wearing makeup it's going to be hard to walk around without makeup. But then I also noticed when I would make videos, makeup would give me the opportunity to always kind of look on brand and the same whenever I was shooting content and craft an image. For example, usually when I make videos, I'll untie my hair because the curls are a trait that's very recognizable, all of that stuff. So this is a very personal thing, but I have just noticed that when I get ready for the day and, I'm not walking around in sweatpants, but I actually shower, put on real clothes, take a couple of minutes for my makeup. Not only do I objectively look better, highlights and stuff like that, I also just feel better because I started my day getting ready for the day instead of being unprepared for the day. And because I am ready for the day, and because I took some time for me instead of, scrolling or other stuff, or just diving into day without having a context switch, I just show up on camera more easily. And this will have to do also objectively with the fact that, it's easier to film when you feel like you look better. That's also why people use filters and all of that. I don't know. I think it's such a taboo topic to talk about, but maybe you've had this too. I mean, it's like when you go to a party, you wouldn't go to a party in sweatpants, right? You wouldn't do a presentation on a stage in sweatpants. So I just look at my socials and the content I'm creating would I go to the office like this? And so that's what I do. And I work from home. So a lot of people think it's really bizarre. Sometimes I'll wear shoes inside. It's healthier to not wear shoes, but okay. When I have a webinar, when I'm hosting a challenge or whatever, I'll get really nice and dressed up because I'm just more ready for it. And I look at it as going to the office, even if my office is inside of my house, or even when now I'm in a hotel in Dubai. My office is literally my bedroom and I get ready for it. Right now, I'm also not recording this podcast straight out of bed and with half a brain. No, I really got ready for this podcast. I look and feel good. I enjoy recording this podcast, and it wouldn't be the same if I would just not do it as prepared. So for me, the habit is just like the identity of being prepared and ready. I'm not trying to look perfect. I don't actually know how to do makeup. I always feel like I'm just doing whatever. But what I do is every morning I have this little internal battle. I always joke about this. My mom hates it, but I'm like, I don't like showering. I don't like getting dressed, and I don't like doing my makeup. That's just the case. But I feel better when I do all of it. So I just do it. And I'm like, well, it's a short shower, just do minimal makeup and, put something in your hair so it's not as frizzy. And it just really helps me. And I'm trying to find the joy in it for myself. And then, but that actually came after the habit. So I'm dressing cute for myself. Today, for example, I had this like belt and a matching bag. And then, I looked at myself in the mirror at the elevator and I was like, whoa, this is cute. So I snapped a picture. Guess what? Now I snapped a picture. Now I have a picture that I can use for a carousel. So it's just a lot easier. And psychologically, why this works is a lot of people never film themselves because they think filming requires a lot of prep. And then they have this really good idea and they could write it down in their notes, but they could also just record it. But then they don't have a microphone or they don't have, they don't feel camera ready. But because I'm always camera ready when I am working, I look more professional when I show up on Zoom calls with clients. That is kind of like an instant, a little bit more respect. And I also, when I have this thought and it's a quote or a topic I want to talk about and it will only take me 2 minutes to film, I have my phone anyways, so I might as well just record it. I rarely post in real time. I will admit that. I will just record stuff. There's also a bunch of stuff I've recorded and I've never posted it. But this is also the reason why, for example, earlier today, I was just recording myself as I was in a meeting. I'm always camera ready now. And this used to not be the case whatsoever. I think in the past year, I've kind of perfected this because I've just noticed that it just makes everything easier and I feel more confident. So do I have issues? Maybe, I don't know. Is this like a vanity thing? Maybe, I don't know. What I do know is that I just have a default state now. I will not film myself in bed. I will not film my bedroom. I will not film myself sitting on the toilet or showering or whatever, But when I am at work, my working hours, I'm also ready to film, and creating content is just a part of my job. And so me doing my hair, makeup, and actually, getting dressed and ready for the day makes creating content so much easier. And every morning to this day, I do this thing. It's really stupid. But so I've been by myself for 2 weeks, right? So every morning I stand in the bathroom and I'm thinking I need to hurry to make it on time for breakfast. I could just do my makeup later. And you have to know, I do not have an elaborate makeup routine. I wouldn't even know how to do it. But every morning, or, when Jonathan and I are going somewhere and we're in a hurry, I'll often think like, I'll just do my makeup in the car. But I've taught myself to just stop. Like it literally only takes 2 minutes, the way I do it, which is really simple. And I'll just literally stop myself and be like, it's only 2 minutes and it's going to make the rest of your day easier. Feel free to disagree with me. Maybe you're a mascara only girly. You do you, but maybe you have something else that's like this. Maybe for you, it's getting dressed and not wearing sweatpants. Maybe for you, it's doing your skincare, whatever you need to feel good. For me, it's just, taking the 2 minutes to do my makeup. It makes literally everything else easier the rest of the day. So love that for me. And for you too. And maybe you're the same way where you don't really like doing it, but you just know objectively it helps the brand. By the way, I get a lot of remarks from people, you look so good and this and that. Well, on the one end, I take really good care of myself. On the other end, I've also just stopped making as much content where I look like shit. So there's that. And I also still make videos where I don't have any makeup on. But 80% of the time I present myself, or I like to present myself as like professional. And that's also the way I would present myself in real life if I would go to the office. And that's the comparison, or that's the basis. That's what I base myself on, is what I wanted to say. So first habit was, what did we say? We had the ID vault. Second habit is the always ready to record. And I don't mean always. I don't mean on Saturdays when I'm diving deep into a romantic book. But when I'm working, I'm ready to record. And this really helps me. For example, today I had a challenge. And what used to happen is I would decide to do a webinar or a challenge. And then 5 minutes before the webinar, I'll be like, shit, I still have to change. I didn't do my makeup. I don't look good enough. And then that will make me insecure. But I also had my prep the content itself, the tech and all of it. And now because I'm always already ready, sometimes I'll go and freshen up before a webinar or a challenge, but it won't be something that blocks me or takes energy away during the rest of the day. And that's also what brings me to the third habit, which is I'm always shooting B-roll. And you can choose. So there's two ways of doing this. Either you are someone who takes and carves out some time to go and create B-roll. I saw someone post this on Instagram lately a while back, and she said, I don't want to film my life, so I will go somewhere for 2 hours to only shoot B-roll. And I respect that. I don't have the patience for it. I hate fake shoots, fake anything. I rarely do any content shoots, if I'm being honest. Earlier today, I was sitting in a nice spot. I saw myself on Zoom. My team was on Zoom as well. I have a little tripod in my purse. I have a second phone. I just clip it out and I just put it there and I film myself in that meeting. Boom. That's a minute of content. That's a clip I can reuse so many times. I'll change the angle of the tripod. I'm in the meeting. I'm listening anyways, and I'm sitting there drinking coffee. I jokingly told my team, like, hey guys, if you see me like putting my sunglasses on and off and see me sipping that coffee and then the water and then doing the things, it's because I'm also shooting B-roll, and they were laughing. But that's how I never have a lack of content, which then I use for my upload pipeline. So I've created this upload pipeline where I have the B-roll, and then once a week I'll have a little task in Notion and it says upload content to Drive. Sometimes I ignore the task, but most of the time I try to do it. It only takes me literally 5 minutes. I timed it. The reason I timed it is because I was getting annoyed with myself, and I was like, Amy, why do you procrastinate on this so much? Because it felt like a lot of work, mindset-wise, but then I realized it's not a lot of work. It literally takes me 5 minutes a week, and I'll upload all of the new footage, which means clips and photos, to Google Drive, just like a fixed folder, and I'll give it the name of the week. And then my team can actually grab content out of there. And that's how I'm often surprised at which content can go out, or my content often performs really well and looks incredibly authentic and organic because it is all just standard shots I just took with my phone or my boyfriend took. And I don't have to dedicate any time to like extra shoots, except for obviously when I consciously want to record trends and stuff. So that's your B-roll bank. And if you don't have a team, that's where it ends. You can just filter it on weeks or stuff. Or what you could also do, which is what we do, is we have a really simple folder structure. So my content creator or my VA, she will then take all of that content and then they'll just put that into little subfolders, which could be fitness, like gym stuff, could be travel, could be lifestyle or cooking or, talking head videos or walking, whatever. You don't have to make this really big, but maybe you have a couple of content pillars. For example, for me, Jonathan and I do really well. So there's a folder where footage of us gets put into. Now, not everyone wants their partner in their photos and videos. Not everyone wants their kids in there. You don't have to do that. The most important part is, I think if you do want to build a personal brand, is that there are some aspects people can relate to. So for me, I could easily use a lot of health content of me chopping up a salad at noon. I have this little thing that you stick to the window. I put it up a couple of weeks ago in the kitchen, so it's in one fixed spot. It will probably ruin my window because it will melt off. But anytime I'm in there, I just make my salad standing in front of it, and then I just pop the phone against it, which means I'm just literally filming myself cooking. There's no one else there. But what I exude with it is not only do we have an authentic image of me actually doing something day in the life, it also has to do with health, which is one of the most something that's really important to me in my brand. So if I were to create reels, trial reels, if I'm creating a vlog, whatever, I can use that footage for a lot of things, right? And I don't have to show my family. Now, I'm lucky that I do have a boyfriend who doesn't mind being in my content. When we got together, I shared with him that supporting me in being like a good Insta boyfriend was important because it was just a part of my life and my job. And I'm really lucky because he has a really good eye for content. So usually when you see videos of me walking or whatever, it's Jonathan who shot the footage. And also, I remember one time I was like, do you want to be in the images or not? And he's like, yeah, I like it because then people see you're taken. So for us, this is a personal thing. He doesn't mind and even kind of likes being in the content. Maybe you have a partner who absolutely hates it. Then that's fine. Then, you just shoot you. Or for me, it might be me in the gym But like no one has ever seen, I think, what my bedroom looks like. So I think one of those things here is that a lot of people feel like, oh, I don't want to have to film my entire personal life. I don't film my entire personal life. You maybe see like 1% of my life, and it's probably always the same stuff. And I've carefully curated that. It's the same mirror in my house, but no one knows what my whole house looks like. No one knows what my bedroom looks like. You might have seen a glimpse of my bathroom, but you don't know what the entire bathroom looks like unless I want to show you. And so you are basically creating one, a little bit of a mystery, and one, a little bit of like the feeling that people are there with you, but they aren't actually. So I just want to put that out there, that it's not because you are showing personal stuff that you have to show everything. And so two things that have really helped me is, well, a couple of things. One is the tripods. So the one in the kitchen, at the window, I had this ad for like these little suction things, and I bought 4. They were really cheap. I put one up in my bathroom. I put one up in my kitchen. I have one in my travel bag, so I now put it up in the bathroom in my hotel room. And then I lost one. So there was the 4. And it's really convenient. I'm also thinking it's always in the same position. So if I ever want to do, this reel or a video where you see the same thing, but like in different outfits, different seasons, it's going to be really easy because I have all of these images at the same spot. Same at my desk. I also have like a fixed tripod there. So I know it sounds a bit crazy, and people are like, oh my God, all these tripods, could never be me. I even have an extra iPhone. And I can almost hear you thinking, Amy, I can't do that. I couldn't possibly. But why not? Because often you're not shooting content because you need your phone, so you can't film yourself. I never have that problem because I have an extra iPhone, so I can just film myself as I'm doing something else on my phone. And that's actually also footage we use a lot, is me on my phone. And then people will say that's crazy, but I have a couple of $20 tripods and an extra iPhone. In total, that's a cost of $2,000. Do you know what professional shoots cost? I've done maybe maximum of 1 professional shoot a year, and I push out maybe like 10 pieces of content a day. Even now, I'm literally using this old Rode microphone that I have, and I'm recording this. Sorry if the quality is not amazing. I'm recording this on my laptop, sitting on a bed, and my sound infrastructure is that I put pillows all around me to absorb the noise. So, like, I think what seems crazy to some to put up 2 tripods in your house, for me actually makes a lot of other stuff less crazy and makes it so that I always have content. So currently I'm testing out trial reels. I don't know how long they're going to be around for. I'm testing out these trends, and my friend Jenna, she was like, which footage, like which images do you have? Which videos can we use? I have so much content. So I'm so grateful to FastForwardAmy. Even when I often didn't do anything with the clips, even when I have so much unused content, I'd rather have so much unused content that is authentic and me than that I would now have like these amazing ideas and I wouldn't have any content to put it on. Yes, I could use AI then to create it, but that would also take time, effort, and I don't know how well that's going to be doing in the algorithm. I do think authenticity is going to win. So I'm now so grateful. I have been recording B-roll for years, and I will say I've gotten better and better and less ashamed of it. So my top habit tip here would be, if you don't ever do this right now, is to choose 2 spots in your daily life. This could be your office, your car, your kitchen, whatever, and just choose 2 spots where there's always a fixed position to put up your phone and to just film a clip of yourself of 30 seconds every day and to just do that. So this could be you at breakfast. This could be you making your lunch. This could be you at your desk when you're doing a call with clients. This could be you in the car. You can put up this like car holder. I don't use that for a GPS. I use it to film myself. So I have a ton of clips of myself in the car. So I could easily create a series that always starts with the same image, even though I currently don't even have my car here, right? So just choose 2 spots and think 30 seconds. You don't even have to look in the camera. Just do something and film yourself doing it, and it's going to make your whole life easier. So, and then the next thing is you got to create a pipeline for yourself. So maybe tack it onto that Monday habit of doing something with your ideas is just like uploading it to a Drive or a Notion or whatever. And what I would recommend is, as you are already shooting your footage, heart it or put it on a folder in your phone so that then you know where all of the clips are. I'm not the best at getting super organized and putting it into the folders. That's why I ask my team to do that. But what could work if you're working by yourself is to just have the folders on your phone. So something I did now for the trial reels is I did have to kind of like make it easier to, from the edits app, create different types of images. So I have started creating these folders. I have a folder that's called negative. And so one of the things my team and I often miss is we have a lot of happy images of me, but we don't have a lot of negatives. So whenever I think of it or I'm actually feeling negative, I'll quickly record myself and I'll put it in the folder negative. So yeah, some ideas on what you can film is, well, first of all, you won't feel any pressure because you don't even know if you're going to use the images. It's just handy to have them on hand. Some ideas is you could film yourself walking, drinking a coffee, opening up your laptop, driving, chopping something. You in motion will generally work well. And this might sound boring, but I think we can all agree rather too much than too little. And then create a standing task, a weekly task for yourself or for your team to upload stuff. And if you do want to have a little folder structure set up, I would call it your B-roll bank. And then maybe the month of the year, so like B-roll February 2026, and then some subfolder ideas: daily life, work, travel, fitness, lifestyle, talking heads, and then product or offer, anything to do with your sales. And then you could file your names with like hotel, coffee, walking, desk, typing, airport, plane, mountain, whatever, so you can easily find stuff. But it's really cool because your leverage point here is that one B-roll clip can easily support a reel hook, a carousel, because from your video, you could also create just like a static image. It could serve for a story rant. It could be a podcast promo. My boyfriend is often amazed at this. He's like, wow, when I have an idea, I never have the excuse I don't have an image for it. I'll just scroll back in my camera roll and do something. It's almost never what I'm actually doing at that moment. And it's not because I'm lying. It's just because this is my system and it works for me. And a while back, we were creating content for him. And I was like, you don't have any photos. Like, how are we going to make your content? And I was like, let me have a look in my camera roll. And I literally searched on his name and had so much footage that I've taken throughout the years of him, which is now really convenient because now he's building his business. And I'm like, well, here's all your B-roll, which is like 200 pieces of B-roll. And if I wouldn't have shot all of that in the past couple of years, he would now have to like start from scratch. So yeah, there's that. Okay, so we are going to create a small implementation plan. But before we create the implementation plan for you, I have something really cool my team and I created. We made this actually for ourselves first, and then we made it for clients. And then it got so good that we were like, well, we're going to have to share this, because maybe you're thinking, okay, but I don't really know what's like personal enough and relevant to my brand, and I don't know where to start. Amy, this feels really intimidating. Or you literally just want a checklist of like 10 things you could try out. I created a GPT that will ask you a couple of questions about you and your brand and what you're doing. And it's going to give you a custom list to shoot. So it's going to give you a custom 10-piece B-roll list, right? So the cool thing is, if you just message me B-roll on Instagram on FastForwardAmy, so BROLL, all one word, I'm going to send you that GPT. Test it out. Let me know how you like it. It's literally going to ask you a couple of questions, and then it's going to roll out a checklist of shit you need to film, record, whatever. And it's going to be customized for you, whatever it is you do. So that's really cool. Yeah, or just click on the link in the description. I'll make sure it's added in the description of the show notes. Okay, so what are we going to do with everything we learned today? This was a longer episode than I thought. I think I always see that the podcasts about habits do really well and about content. So that's why I was like, haha, best of both worlds. And I do live and breathe this. I do this every single day. So I think I might want to talk about this a bit more, actually. So here's your short implementation plan. 1, if you're a beginner, I would just start with just creating that ideas vault. And a tip that I would give you is to just take one photo of yourself every day, like one fixed mirror where you always take a photo, or like one thing. It could be a static image if you feel really intimidated by video, just like one thing, okay? If you're a little bit intermediate, you're already into creating content, let's do the Monday, right? So you're gonna start filming yourself once a day, doing the same thing. And let's add in the Monday block to your calendar where you're going to turn ideas into content. And if you're already more advanced, you have a team in all of the things, or you just want to do all of the things from this episode, then it's really clear. Capture all of your ideas in an ideas vault. Make sure you're always camera ready so you can shoot B-roll, which is step 3, and then make sure you organize all of it and upload it and turn all of your ideas into content. Obviously, I would recommend you do all of it, but as I was filming myself today without shame on the beach, I noticed how practice really has made everything easier. And I don't know if I said this in the beginning of the episode, but I was at the, what's it called? The 1 Billion Followers Summit in Dubai. And I saw everyone walking around there, one, being so wildly successful, two, no one was ashamed that they were holding a tripod or lights or whatever, and they were just crushing it with their content. And it also gave me like a little boost of confidence. And I was like, all of these people have accomplished so much in their life and business and have impacted thousands, millions of people, all because of content. So we really shouldn't be ashamed. And I think whenever I do feel insecure about creating content, I like to remind myself that the only people who are going to be criticizing me are people who are not in the arena with me. Usually the people criticizing you aren't the people further ahead than you. They're the people behind you, because why would they have time to look at what you're doing otherwise? And it doesn't mean that I feel better than other people or whatever, but I just, with content, it's such a personal thing to put yourself out there. And I often get criticized for it, sometimes from people near me, sometimes just online or dudes on my ads. And if you didn't go and look at their profile, yeah, you should do that. I wish I could show you, but I have integrity, so I don't actually show their profiles to other people. But then I'm like, well, would I want advice from this person? No, then why should I care that they're criticizing me? And when I'm in a hotel and I'm filming myself eating or whatever, sometimes I'm like, well, the servers are going to think, well, this girl is self-obsessed. But then I remind myself, like, it's because I film myself and because I put myself out there that I'm able to afford a hotel like this and that I'm able to impact other people. So no matter how uncomfortable it gets, wherever the discomfort lies for you, remember, it's in the discomfort that you will grow. So you don't have to do what I do. You won't be able to immediately just like whip out the phone and just start talking. It took me a couple of years to get to that point that I was able to do that. And even I make less content when I'm surrounded by other people than if I'm just by myself. But it is a habit that you will build. And if you think it's really hard right now, start erasing that from your vocabulary, difficult word, and remind yourself that practice really does make perfect. The first time you rode a car, that was difficult. You drove a car, that was difficult. The first time, you rode a bike, maybe you fell down. And when you're learning a new language, that's difficult. Creating content is a skill. Filming yourself is a skill. Talking on camera is a skill. Give yourself the grace that you are allowed to suck at it first before you get better. But even the sucky videos, you're going to be really happy that you have them later on, okay? Don't forget to go and grab your B-roll stuff. Let me know if you like this episode. And I would really, really love it if you could actually follow and subscribe to the podcast, because I've been noticing people are really into this stuff. I really want to dive into trending topics for this year. There's going to be some guests coming on. So when you subscribe and follow the podcast, you are going to get notified when a new episode drops, which is every single Tuesday, okay? Don't forget to go and download your custom B-roll list. The link is in the description in the show notes. And I will see you next week, Tuesday, for another episode. Bye! They say running a business is getting harder and harder because you can be amazing at what you do, but if you don't know how to actually run the business side of things, you won't actually make it past year 5. Now, I've been in business for the past 10 years, and trust me, I have made a lot of mistakes. But luckily, I've learned a lot of things as well. And throughout the years, I've discovered that there are 9 skills every entrepreneur needs in order to actually grow their business in a sustainable way. And I can teach you how to do this and grow your business to 5K, 10K a month, all without a team or really fancy systems. When you apply these principles, you won't be feeling like you're in survival mode anymore at the beginning of each month, or like you're afraid to open up your mailbox, or that secret voice in your brain that goes, should I go back to working for a boss? It is going to disappear, because once you have these 9 principles, everything is going to get easier. And that is why, to celebrate my 10 years of entrepreneurship and my 33rd birthday, I am bringing back my best-selling program, the Business Freedom Elevator, which has been followed by over 1,900 entrepreneurs. And I want to celebrate my birthday with you. So if you're interested to learn the 9 essential entrepreneurial skills every business owner needs in order to go from having a dream to actually having a full-time paycheck without losing your freedom, make sure you go and grab lifetime access to my program. And as a bonus, you're going to get 3 days of live coaching where we're going to fast track your success for this year. Go to the link in the description and I'd love to see you there. And if you have any questions, just send me a message on Instagram. I don't bite.